The security feed flickered, as if it didn't want to show what was happening. On Docking Bay 7 of Myronine, a massive trade station orbiting a dead star, 5 tall armored aliens stood in a circle. Their skin was dark and scaled, their mouths split with rows of sharp teeth. They were Vizun, soldiers elite, brutal, and feared. In the middle of them lay a small, trembling figure. A girl no more than 10 years old? Her name was Ava Lynn, daughter of Earth diplomats. She was crying, clutching her side, blood pouring from a wound above her eye. One of the Vizun kicked her hard in the stomach. Ava screamed. The other aliens laughed. A second kick sent her sliding across the cold floor. Your kind is weak. One of them hissed in broken Terran standard. Soft. Useless. Ava tried to crawl away. The cameras recorded everything high resolution, full audio. Station staff did nothing. Bystanders turned their faces. Someone uploaded the footage to the public net. It spread like fire. Millions watched. Billions. Shock turned to rage. But then, just as suddenly, the video was deleted. Wiped from servers, traced and scrubbed by unknown agents, like it had never happened. But it wasn't fast enough, because Earth saw it, not just Earth's public. The video reached the black. Archive, a top-secret intelligence vault buried miles below the ice of Europa. Only 6 people had access. One of them pressed a red key all around the solar system. Dormant sensors blinked online. Satellites moved. Codes were unlocked, and deep beneath the surface of Antarctica, 7 steel chambers hissed open for the first time in 2 centuries. Something ancient had awakened. Ava's parents had no idea what happened until they were contacted by Myronine medical staff. She's stable, the voice said coldly. Minimal internal damage, possible cranial fracture, suggests cybernetic aid for memory loss. They arrived in a rush, both still wearing their diplomatic robes. But Ava was unconscious, pale, covered in bruises and bandages. They demanded answers. But the Vizun high officer on Myronine shrugged. There is no crime, he said. Your daughter trespassed. Our soldiers were defending military cargo. You attacked a child, Ava's mother shouted. Your human laws mean nothing here, the officer replied. This station is neutral territory. Our empire holds diplomatic immunity. No charges were filed, no punishment was given. Ava lay, silent in her hospital bed. Earth's ambassador filed a protest, but the Galactic Council ignored it. The Vizun continued their patrols, mocking humans openly on interstellar networks. But back on Earth, the silence was unnatural. No news reports. No political statements, just silence, except for the movement of deep space satellites. And the slow reactivation of a classified project long thought buried, in a chamber deeper than any mine. 7 tall metal pods hissed with steam. The air was ice cold. Inside each pod lay a figure perfectly still, like statues carved from living. Steel, then, a voice echoed through the chamber. Female, cold, precise. Project Wraith. Activation sequence confirmed. Pod 1 opened with a loud crack. The figure inside stepped forward, eyes glowing dim white. No facial expression. No emotion. Then, Pod 2. Pod 3.7 in total. Each one wore different armor. No flags, no emblems. Just black matte plating and faded serial codes. They did not speak. They did not ask questions. Instead, they all turned toward a hologram now rising from the center of the chamber. It showed Ava Lynn, her age, her medical status. The footage of her attack, then. A final line appeared beneath it. Human civilian, targeted by foreign military force. Diplomatic protection overridden. Wraith protocol reinstated. The Wraith units did not ask for orders. They already knew, back on the station. The Vizun patrol unit, those responsible for Ava's attacks at Inabar, drinking thick blue liquid. They laughed as the screen above them replayed an edited version of the incident. Ava's face blurred, their violence edited out. Humans cry too easy, one said, tapping the table with a claw. Then the lights flickered. The temperature dropped 5 degrees. Someone near the bar began to shake. "Why is it cold?" Alien asked. Then the screen above the bar went black. One word appeared in red. Judgment. The bar exploded inward from the wall. A shadow stepped through smoke, a blur of movement silent. Fast. The first Vizoon didn't even scream before. His neck was crushed. The second reached for a weapon, but it melted in his hand. The third tried to run. He got 2 steps before a blade tore through his back. The last 2 were paralyzed. Eyes wide, a figure stood over them, armor black as night, eyes glowing. You heard a human child. It said in a whisper that sounded like thunder. The feed cut. Out in the following hours, galactic listening posts picked up strange signals from the Sol system. Ships unregistered, invisible to standard tracking, were leaving Earth space, moving fast. Faster than expected. No official records, no communication. But some traders swore they saw. Black shapes darting through the void. One message leaked from a Zuan ship orbiting a mining colony. "We found something in the rocks." A human signal. It said, ... It said they're coming. Then, static. Fear spread. Whispers of Earth's WRAITHS, an old legend. Human myth. Soldiers who had no mercy, no faces, only purpose. Ava. Lynn's name became a quiet chant on human worlds. She was just a child. But her pain had reawakened something far worse than war. A meeting was held in secret. Only the highest-ranking human officials attended. A general stood before a large screen. The image showed 7 active Wraith units. Locations, classified, protocol. Has been triggered, the general said. They are not under our control anymore. The room fell silent. A diplomat asked, "Can we call them back?" The general shook his head. "They don't respond to command, not after activation. They only follow one rule: protect all human life." Another asked, "What will they do?" The general stared at the screen. "They will finish the mission." A quiet Earth medical ship far from the war. Ava Lynn slept peacefully. Her body was healing slowly. A nurse checked her vitals and adjusted the light. She whispered, "Don't worry, little one. They'll never touch you again." Outside the window, stars twinkled like sparks on black velvet, and just beyond the ship's orbit, a black shape hovered, invisible to radar. Watching, protecting, waiting. The Vizoon patrol ship, Sarek's Claw, was lost. It wasn't in any battle. There were no pirates, no malfunctions, no distress signals. One moment it was sending routine scans from a dead moon in Sector X-29, and the next, nothing gone. A nearby drone picked up the last footage from the ship. The camera shook, tracking something inside the ship's dark hallway. At first, nothing. Then, movement. A tall shadow, humanoid. No visible weapons. No words. Then the lights began to flicker. The crew screamed. Metallic sound, like claws dragging on steel. Then silence. The last image recorded showed the corridor smeared in blood. On the wall, written in red, Wraith. The Vizoon Council gathered in panic. Their grand chamber, usually filled with arrogant laughter and loud voices, was now quiet. 6 patrols had vanished in a single night. No wreckage, no survivors. Not even a distress signal. The only link between them. All were part of the military. Command responsible for Myra-9.1, General growled. "This is an act of war." "From Earth," another replied. "But we hear nothing from Earth. No threats, no movement." Then a third held up a file. A single word in bold, ancient Terran script. "Wraiths? Old human myths?" Someone scoffed. "They don't exist. They were real," the general said. "We buried the reports a century ago. Soldiers with no fear, no morals, no limits." Another voice added, "And now they're back." Far from the politics, 7 Wraith units moved through space like ghosts. Their ships were unlike any others, black. Smooth, silent. They left no trail, no sound. They were built before Earth joined the Galactic Council. Before peace. Before rules inside one of the vessels, A wraith stood still in the command chamber. His face was covered in a smooth mask. His voice was mechanical. Quiet. Target confirmed. Phase 1. Execute. The ship accelerated toward the next target. A Wazoon listening station orbiting a small gas giant. The station never saw them coming. The first alarm rang out. Just seconds before lights failed, cameras caught a blur, then static. The entire station was destroyed in under 3 minutes. Only one body was recovered. It had no wounds. Its brain had been shut down somehow. By a neural pulse humans hadn't used in 200 years. Earth still made no official statement. The Galactic Council demanded answers, threatened sanctions, sent probes toward Earth's border, but those probes disappeared. 2 human colonies across space received one quiet message from an old frequency: remain calm. Earth remembers. The wraiths walk again. On Terra Prime, Earth's capital. The president met privately with Defense Command. We did not give the order, she said. No, ma'am, the general replied. But the order was already written, 2 centuries ago. Looked at the screen showing a map of known wraith movements. It's not just revenge, she whispered. They're following mission protocol. Protect human life, the general confirmed. Eliminate any species that harms a human civilian. And they won't stop, the president said, until every last one responsible is gone. News of the wraith attacks spread fast. Entire trade lanes shut down. Alien mercenaries began quitting Wazoon contracts. Independent colonies raised human flags hoping for protection. The Trelli Syndicate, allies of the Wazoon, sent a squadron. To track and destroy one wraith ship, they sent 12 battlecruisers. Only one returned drifting engines offline. The crew inside were all unconscious, untouched. But left with one final message carved into the main screen: you chose their side. Do not choose again. The message was signed with a digital skull symbol in Old Earth's military code long. Thought extinct. WRAITH Unit 3 stood alone in an abandoned mining station. He activated an old hologram. Evelyn's file appeared. It showed her face smiling in a school photo. Then a clip of her on Myronine being attacked. His artificial heart rate spiked. He whispered, designation, civilian, child, status, protected. He turned toward the next terminal and sent a message to all wraith units. New objective, expand target list. Eliminate command infrastructure of Wazoon Empire. Begin no mercy protocol. Across space, WRAITHs changed direction. They were no longer targeting individuals. Now, they were targeting systems. Myra 9, the station where Ava was attacked, was now locked down by the Wazoon military, but the staff could feel that something was coming. The air seemed colder. Systems glitched, drones malfunctioned, doors opened and closed by themselves. Then one of the Wazoon guards started screaming. Skin had strange burn marks, though no heat was present. His mind shattered, and all he could say was there. Already here. The Wraiths intercepted a secure Galactic Council channel and sent one message to every system in range. It played on public screens. Every species heard it. Every child. Every soldier. The screen went black, and a Wraith appeared tall. Armored, glowing eyes, hidden behind a mask. Its voice was deep, synthetic, calm. You hurt one of ours. You looked away. You laughed. Now, we do not come with peace. We come with judgment. You will never see us. You will never stop us. We are the last thing you will never forget. And the screen cut to black. The Wraith's skull burned into every viewer's memory and across the stars. Silence fell. Station Krolin 7 was a fortress. It floated above a molten moon on the edge of Wazoon space. Shielded, armed, staffed by 4,000 military officers, were scientists and elite guards. No one had ever broken into it until now. Security. Logs recovered from the last transmission show everything in chilling detail. 23:05. Station time. A sensor glitch. One of the hangars flickers offline. 23:06. A maintenance bot is found crushed. It's twisted in half like paper. 23:07. Section. Gamma reports a cold fog seeping through ventilation against all logic in the stations. Climate-controlled interior. 2308. Screaming begins. 2309. All visual feeds go. A dark. 2315. A final emergency message. Distorted and shaking with static, is sent to Vazoon High Command. There. Already inside. No weapons working. Nothing touches them. One of them looked at me and I, unintelligible, screaming, "We were wrong to touch the child." Signal cuts. No one escapes by sunrise. Station Krolin 7 no longer exists. The Vazoon Empire can no longer deny the truth. The Wraiths are real. And they are erasing the command structure one piece at a time. The Krolon 7. Station wasn't just a military site, it was the intelligence hub that ordered the Myra 9 garrison, the very officers who approved. Ava's attackers were stationed there. Now, they're dust. Inside the lead Wraith ship, Unit 1, the commander. Reviewed mission logs. Images of Station Krolin 7 glowed across the screen. Heat signatures, tactical maps, body counts, success, 100%. Collateral damage, 0%. No civilians, no animals. No buildings outside the target zone, just the guilty Unit 1 sent a silent signal to all WRAITHs. Target cleared. Chain of command termination. Each Wraith had a specialty. Unit 2, infiltration and hacking. Unit 2-3, psychological. Warfare, Unit 2-4. Demolition, Unit 2-5. Biotech sabotage, Unit -6. Stealth and long range. Execution, Unit 7. Black site operations and data wipes. They moved like shadows and ever. Together, never detected. The Galactic Council gathered in panic for an emergency session. Holoscreens blinked with reports of silent. Black ships seen near other empires. Human colonies remained untouched. No reports of aggression, unless someone had harmed a human. Counselor Veyer of the Vazoon stood trembling before the chamber. "They must be stopped," he shouted. "Earth is behind this." Ambassador calmly replied, "We haven't declared war. We haven't moved a single warship. These attacks," he looked around, "we didn't order them. They act on old protocols, written long before any of us were born. Then deactivate them." Veyer snarled. "We can't," the ambassador said, "because we never controlled them in the first place." Word spread. Fast. Systems that once mocked humanity now locked their borders. Stations that had refused humans now sent messages of apology. Even Vazoon. Warships began scanning their own crews for signs of guilt. Anyone involved in Ava's attack was removed, jailed, or executed out of fear. It didn't help. The Wraiths already had the list, and one by one, names vanished. The Vazoon sent a salvage crew to recover what they could from the ruins of Krolon-7. What they found froze their blood. No blast marks, no signs of explosives. Doors melted from the inside. Weapons, it's untouched, still powered, but had never fired. And on the main command wall, a single phrase carved deep into the alloy. "We do not fear death, we bring it." Wraith Unit 4 had left his mark, a signature. Of Extinction Earth finally released a public message. It came from Ava's mother. Her face was calm, but her voice trembled. "My daughter Evelyn is still in recovery. She cannot walk. She cannot speak. But she still breathes." She looked directly into the lens, and to those who stood by and watched, to those who protected the ones who hurt, "Who you did this." Then, in a colder voice, "We will not stop the Wraiths, our humanities. Last promise. We made them to defend our kind in the darkest times. Now they walk again." The feed cut. Across the galaxy. Silence. Inside a quiet medical ship orbiting Mars. Evelyn stirred. Her heart monitor beeped faster. She didn't open her eyes, but she whispered, "They're still angry." A nurse blinked. "What?" But Ava had gone still again. Outside, far beyond the moon, a dark shape passed across the stars. It had no lights, no windows, but it left a trail of frozen static in the void. WRAITH, Unit 3, heard her, and someone else had just made the next mistake. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council is flickered to life emergency session. Leaders from 38 advanced civilizations gathered in holographic form, their faces pale with fear. Reports of Wraith activity were growing daily. 3 starbases destroyed. 2. Zune throne worlds now dark. No declarations, no survivors. Only a whisper on the airwaves. You heard a human. Counselor Zaros of the Mavkari stood up, voice shaking. We have to stop this. The humans have unleashed death itself. Earth's ambassador appeared last, calm, silent, waiting. You must call them off, Zaros shouted. The Wraiths, we demanded. But Earth's ambassador only sighed, then looked up suddenly. The entire chamber darkened. Every hologram froze. A black mist filled the space. Every leader turned in fear as a single shadowed figure stepped into view. -uninvited.awra. Its no guards moved. Its no defenses triggered. The being's voice was low and metallic. But it spoke clearly. You failed her. You saw the footage. You did nothing. Now you will witness justice. You belong to the dark. Then it vanished. The chamber lights flicked back on, but every delegate sat frozen in fear. None of them slept that night. The council begged Earth to stop the Wraiths. But Earth made no promise, no deal. Instead, the only message they received was, they act of their own will. Do not interfere. The Wraiths were not weapons. They were punishments unleashed, ancient and perfect. Veltorin was the secret location of a high-ranking Vizun general, one of the last alive who signed Ava's attackers into duty. He believed himself safe. Hidden under thick atmosphere and 1,000 kilometers of molten rock, he was wrong, Wraith. Unit 5 arrived silently in a drop pod made of stealth alloy and ceramic composites. It didn't fall. It slid undetectable, frictionless, in 43 seconds. The general's security systems failed. In 57 seconds, all his guards lay unconscious, no wounds. No noise. At exactly 1 o'clock station time, he looked up to see glowing white eyes in the darkness of his chamber. The last thing he heard, you hurt the child. Wraith attacks became precise, surgical, clean, no random destruction. Only those tied to the Myra 9 incident were targeted. Military, leadership, scientists, administrators, even smugglers who helped cover it up. The message was clear. No more hiding, alien. Governments began purging their own files to find anyone connected, hoping to sacrifice them and be spared. But the Wraiths already had the list, and they never missed. Once mighty, the Vizun High Command now scrambled to survive. Whole fleets refused to obey orders. Governors fled their posts. Fear turned to allies against each other. They tried to issue a statement. We regret the incident on Myra 9. It was unfortunate. But that word unfortunate was their final mistake. Less than 10 hours later, a dozen Vizun warships in their home sector fell silent. All of them had one crew member in common, a commander who signed the incident report. That used that word, the Wraiths didn't just watch. They listened. For the first time, a Wraith broadcast was sent directly to every news system in the galaxy. It began with a visual, the footage of Ava Lynn, broken and bleeding in docking bay. 7, uncut. Raw, every detail visible. Then the voice came, deep, cold, familiar. You wanted to forget. But we remember. You thought we were soft, civilized, tamed. You thought wrong, continued. You may hide behind your councils, behind your laws, but we are older than your laws. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to remind you. Final message, hurt one of ours again. And next time, there will be no stars left to hide behind. Earth didn't celebrate. There were no parades, no speeches, just quiet activity. Human diplomats were recalled. Trade agreements paused. Black Ops. Units across colonies went dark, likely feeding Wraith units data in secret. A defense officer whispered to her aide, "Do you think they'll ever stop?" The aide shook his head. "Only if Ava wakes up." Inside her quiet recovery room, Ava Lynn opened her eyes. She stared at the ceiling, silent. A monitor beeped once. Then twice. A nurse rushed in. "Ava, Ava, can you hear me?" Ava blinked, slowly nodded. Her voice dry and low, whispered, "They're still angry." She looked at the ceiling, beyond it, threw it into space. "And they're not done." Yet the Vizoon believed they could outsmart the WRAITHS. In a secret lab orbiting the gas. Giant Zeradon 4. Top scientists captured a WRAITH-Unit 6. The ship had self-destructed, but Unit 6 had survived. Barely. Now it hung in stasis, inside. A gravity-locked cage. Monitors tracked its brain activity. Heartbeat. Neural spikes. It was still alive, but silent. "We'll crack it," said lead scientist Varrock. "Extract data. Find a weakness." They connected it to a neural scanner-on ancient device meant to download memories. That was their second mistake. The moment. The device activated. The lab's lights dimmed. Screens flashed red dot, not with data, but with images. Planets burning. Enemies screaming. Human warships dropping from FTL like falling swords. Memories, not just of war, of extinction. WRAITH. Unit 6 didn't scream, but the scientists did. Each one collapsed, clutching their heads. Some began sobbing, others laughing. One whispered, "This isn't a soldier. It's a memory made of pain." Then the power failed, and the cage was empty across the galaxy. The Wraith legend grew, but no one knew where they truly came from, until now. Earth had almost lost everything. It wasn't the Vizoon back then. It was the Zeroth Swarman insectoid race that consumed entire biospheres. They came without warning and made Sol their final target. No fleet could stop them. No peace could be made. So Earth built something different, something illegal, something forbidden. They used captured swarm DNA, black box AI, neural cloning, ghost memory implants, 7 prototypes, 7 names erased from history. The project was called Wraith. The mission: survive at all costs, win at any cost. Leave nothing behind. The Wraiths did not fight like soldiers. They hunted like predators. They didn't capture. They didn't negotiate. They erased. In just 9 weeks, the Zeroth swarm disappeared. No bodies. No ships, just silence in a deep vault under Mars. Old video logs flickered to life. A general sat across from a Wraith. Prototype-Unit-1. He looked tired, afraid. "Do you understand what you are?" he asked. The Wraith's voice was flat. "We are memory, we are function, we are the response." The general leaned forward. "And what happens if you're ever reactivated?" The Wraith looked straight into the lens. "Then someone hurt a human, and we return." Then Labanza ridden for was now just debris. The Wraith had left nothing, except one symbol, burned into a bulkhead, a human skull. Behind a vertical line of tally marks, 7 marks. 1 for each unit. And a new mark was scratched next to them. 1 more mission complete. All across the galaxy. Fear turned to terror. WRAITH sightings spread even to peaceful sectors. Not attacks, just sightings. A flicker in a hangar camera. A silent blackout in a research post. A shadow on a ship's hull. A warning. Ava was sitting up now, weak but conscious. She watched the stars through the window of her recovery ship. The nurse handed her a datapad. "You've got messages? Hundreds? From colonies, from human citizens, even from aliens. All asking the same question? Are you okay?" She typed only one reply. "I'm healing. They're protecting me. And they're protecting you too." She looked out the window again. "Just don't make them angry again." Inside the command vessel, Unit 1 stared at a projected map. Hundreds of red dots confirmed names. Tied to the Myra 9 incident, dozens were already gray. Completed, he sent a command to the others. Next phase begins. We are the shield. They broke the treaty. Now we break the silence. The map zoomed in on a massive Vazoon fortress planet, High Command's last stronghold. Then, Unit 1 did something unexpected. He activated the archive core, and the Wraiths won. By one began remembering more. Memories locked for over 200 years. Names, faces, orders, lies, and one truth became clear. Ava's attack wasn't random, it was a test. And now the Wraiths wanted answers. Sector Thadavazoon Prime Defense Grid, a fleet. 500 Vazoon warships formed a wall around their throne world. They called it the Unbreakable Ring. Every ship had shields up, artillery primed. Fighters in formation, scouts had detected something anomalous readings in the dark void, just outside the system. Then, ... silence. No targets, no signals, just the cold black of space. Until one scout ship blinked offline, then another. No explosions. No wreckage. Then one massive command ship suddenly opened fire on itself. Crew shouted, AI failure. The engines overloaded. It exploded. On a nearby cruiser, all systems are EBOOT instead of their interface. They saw a single human phrase. You taught us nothing. We remember everything. And then the real attack began. The Vazoon believed war was simple. Numbers. Power, shields, firepower. But the Wraiths fought with something older fear. Silence, confusion, and brutality. Wraith Unit 2 used a forgotten Earth strategy. Cold dashboarding, his ship shut down all systems. Mimicked debris and drifted straight through enemy sensors. Once close, he launched without thrusters, using magnetic grapples. He entered a battleship, silent as a shadow. By the time the crew saw him, half the bridge was already dead. No alarms. No firefights. He didn't destroy the ship. He reprogrammed it. And 20 minutes later, it fired on the Vazoon flagship from the inside. Unit-3 broadcast false. Signals human distress calls from disabled freighters, VA Zuin, medics, and engineers. Responded, but when they arrived, all they found was a dark hull and a single blinking message. You watched her scream, then the airlocks opened and the ships flooded with anti-neural gas used during Earth's darkest wars, non-lethal to humans, fatal to Vazoon neurosystems. The Vazoon had one advantage: superior AI. Their ships predicted every modern tactic, every move. But the Wraiths didn't use AI. They used instinct, memory, and chaos. Old Earth tactics, flanking patterns, suicide runs, spiked drones from the atmosphere, sonic decoys. The Vazoon couldn't predict it, because their machines had never seen anything like it. They were fighting ghosts trained in wars. Their databases had erased. Panic erupted on Vazoon Prime. Commanders screamed at each other. The Emperor locked himself inside his vault. Cities blacked out. Orbiting stations fell from the sky. A single Wraith ship hovered above the capital. They never fired, they just stayed, watching, waiting, and every hour, a new broadcast cut through. The Vazoon network. You hurt a child. Your power means nothing. We will not take your cities. We will take your fear. Across the galaxy, human colonies cheered in silence. There were no parties, no celebrations, just quiet relief. The Wraiths had become more than soldiers. They were legends, protectors, shadows that walked with purpose. Messages poured in from alien civilians who once laughed at humans. Now, they asked for protection. From humans, inside Earth Command, the President sat in her private war room. Status. She asked. A general replied, "They've crippled Vazoon's throne world defense. Minimal civilian damage. No human casualties." Do they intend to destroy the planet? No. They're sending a message. She looked at the screen showing the Wraith vessels orbiting silently. They're showing the galaxy.
Not what we...
Our Unit 1 stood in the archive room, reviewing a corrupted file from Earth's black Archived, it showed the Myra station, but this file had something new. An internal message from a Vizun diplomat to a shadow group. The girl will serve as bait. We need to confirm if Earth still protects its own. Ava wasn't just attacked, she was targeted on purpose. Earth had suspected it, but now the Wraiths had proof. Unit 1 sent a full data packet to all WRA ITHS. Final protocol unlocked. This was no accident. This was war. In orbit over Europa, Ava Lynn sat up fully for the first time. Doctors watched as her vitals spiked. A message appeared on her bedside console, encrypted, marked only with a single character. Omega. She tapped it. 7 symbols appeared. On dash screen, she touched the first. A soft voice unit, one spoke aloud. We have proof, Ava. It was a test. Trap. They wanted to see if Earth would bleed. Then silence. Ava closed her eyes, whispered one word. End it. Europa Medical Station secure. Human territory. The lights dimmed as every monitor in the critical care wing shut off. Doctors froze. Nurses backed away from the central pod. A girl no older than 12 sat up, fully awake. Wire still hung from her arms, her skin still bruised. But her eyes cold, sharp, unafraid. Her voice broke the silence. Where are they? The lead nurse stumbled back. You shouldn't be awake. The girl stood. Bones cracked. A high-pitched tone hummed from the walls. Her heartbeat, perfectly calm. Earth's military command, watching remotely, held its breath. One general whispered, "She knows." And she did. Because moments later, Ava Lynn reached out her hand and unlocked the final layer of the Omega Protocol. A single word displayed on Earth's most secret system, go, and across the stars. All 7 Wraith units vanished into light. Ava wasn't just a victim anymore. Her neural scans were off the charts. Doctors realized the beating had activated something in her, something Earth scientists called cognitive hyperreaction. She wasn't just smart. She was now quantum sense to Wraith. Command systems Earth had built the Wraiths to protect humanity. But now, for the first time, they had a living controller. Ava could feel their locations, their thoughts, their intentions, and with a word, she could send them anywhere. The Vizun Empire had already lost their outer fleets. Now the Wraiths hit their core. Unit 1 struck their war factories, using old-world explosives, no energy trail. Unit 4 hijacked their food supply chain, delivering tainted data that collapsed AI logistics. Unit 6 sabotaged the Throne Fleet's fuel cores, creating a chain of quiet, invisible implosions, but none of them fired a single shot at civilians. Instead, they whispered, "This is because of Ava." The people listened, for the first time. In Vizun history, rebellion sparked on 13 worlds. They didn't fight for Earth. They fought against the monsters who hurt a child. Earth broadcast a message. Unfiltered across, open comes. Not from a general, not from the president, but from Ava herself. A simple, unedited recording. She sat in her medical gown, no makeup, no script, just one line. "You hurt me. Now they come for you. Don't ask Earth for mercy. Ask yourself why you stayed silent." That was all, but it was enough. Alien races across 3 sectors began cutting ties with the VA. Single quote Zu had become more than a girl. She was a symbol, a warning, fearing collapse. The Vizun activated a forbidden protocol, Project Nullcore. A fleet of black ships, each with antimatter cores and planet-kill payloads, left their central fortress. Target Earth, the Emperor's final order. Scorch their homeworld. Show them who rules. But Wraith Unit 7 was already on board. His face was never seen. He'd entered as a corpse in a cryopod labeled human biological sample. Once inside, he woke and erased their launch codes. The Black Fleet never reached Sol. It turned around and every ship jumped into Vizun orbit, awaiting Ava's final command, fearing collapse. The Vizun activated a forbidden protocol, Project Nullcore, a fleet of black ships, each with antimatter cores and planet-kill payloads, left their central fortress. Target Earth. The Emperor's final order. Scorch their homeworld. Show them who rules. But Wraith Unit 7 was already on board. His face was never seen. He'd entered as a corpse in a cryopod labeled human biological sample. Once inside, he woke and erased their launch codes. The Black Fleet never reached Sol. It turned around and every ship jumped into Vizun orbit, awaiting Ava's final command. In under 72 hours, Vizun's planetary comms were taken offline. Their AI turned on them, shut down, confused, lost. Their fleet hyperdrives fused with raw data streams, leaving them stranded. Their empire didn't burn. It withered, and across the stars, a name echoed, spoken in fear, in awe, in reverence. Ava Lynn. A child no more, a symbol forever. Deserted war council chamber on Vizun Prime, once alive with orders and strategies, now silent. The banners of the Empire sagged from the walls, broken screens, flickered static. The Emperor sat alone in the center. No guards, no advisors, just echoes and shame. A broadcast activated itself. No one pressed play. The screen showed a young girl, Ava Lynn. She stared through the display with cold, calm eyes. She didn't smile. She didn't threaten. She simply said, "You had a choice. You chose to hurt me. Now the galaxy chooses without you." Then the screen went dark. Behind the Emperor, the old banners turned to ash. The Vizun Empire didn't fall in flames. It was cut off. Banking systems crashed. Trade routes collapsed. Lies disappeared. Their soldiers defected. Their civilians rioted. WRAITH. Units left behind no wreckage and shame. Earth never invaded. They simply let the Vizun feel what it meant to be alone. Back on Europa, Ava Lynn recovered in full. But her body wasn't the only thing that changed. She was now quantum-linked to every Wraith archive. She remembered their missions, their training, their purpose, and more importantly, now answered to her. She didn't want revenge. She wanted balance, and Earth agreed. Ava was offered anything power, even the presidency someday. She declined. Instead, she created something new. The Lynn Accord, a universal treaty signed by 142 races under one simple rule. Any species that harms a human child forfeits its right to power. The name Ava Lynn appeared on banners, murals, statues, not just on human worlds, but alien ones too. On Zellery 3, a school was named after her. On Delos Station, former Vizun scientists held a day of silence every year in her memory. On Vetra Prime, a monument read, "She didn't kill us. She could have. She taught us instead." Ava's message had become law. With their mission complete, the Wraiths vanished. Their ships were never seen again. But whispers said they still watched, not as conquerors, as shadows, waiting. One rumor claimed a WRA appeared on a pirate ship, trying to enslave children near Proxima Gate. The pirates never made another jump, and every ship nearby received a message. Ava remembers. Years later, Ava gave one last message broadcast galaxy-wide from Earth. She was older now, taller, wiser. She stood on a platform overlooking Earth's blue sky. The entire galaxy tuned in. She said, "I was a child when they hurt me. But I am not a child anymore. I am not a queen or a warrior or a god. I am just Ava. And I remind you, humanity protects its own. Always." Then she smiled softly and walked away. The signal ended, and the stars held their breath. Years later, the same docking bay where Ava had been attacked was quiet, clean, peaceful. A new human child walked with her alien friends. Laughing above them, a plaque read, "Let this place be a warning and a promise. In memory of the girl who changed everything," and carved in steel below, "Ava Lynn."